Here's a love for Project Sport and welcome to week 33 of the Premier League review. If you want to know what we do, we take a look at the past set Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th of April 2018. Also next to the games are the times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific match, just go to the time next to the game and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into the first match. We start with the Manchester Derby as Manchester City took on Manchester United. Manchester City went into this game knowing that if they won, they would be crowned Premier League champs against their local rivals. It made it possibly the most important Manchester Derby of all time, and in the Derby, Manchester City took a lead in the 25th minute through their captain, Vincent Kompany. It came from a corner that was put into the box, and Kompany got ahead of Smalling and powered his header into the back of the net. And Man City doubled their lead 5% when Ilkay Gundogan got the goal. Lovely passing play from the league leaders as David De Gea's goal kick went straight to Manchester City. It was given to Bernardo Silva. He played it into Raheem Sterling. Sterling went past one, slipped in the middle for Gundogan, and the German turned his man superbly and slotted the ball into the bottom corner. But Man United got to go back 10 minutes in the second half when Paul Pogba got the goal. Lovely move from the visitors as Alexis Sanchez had the ball on the left wing. He put it in the middle for Ander Herrera. The Spaniard chested it down. Paul Pogba ran in behind the defence and poked it past the outcoming Ederson. And 2 minutes later, Man United levelled the game up when Paul Pogba got his second goal in as many minutes. Paul Pogba actually started this move as he gave it to Alexis Sanchez just inside the Man City half, and Pogba just walked away, and Sanchez came forward before putting a ball into the box, and popping up unmarked was Pogba, who headed the ball down into the bottom corner. And United took the lead in the 69th minute through Chris Smalling. It came from a free kick that Alexis Sanchez took and he put it into the box. City were playing the high line, but Smalling timed it well and the ball dropped to him 6 yards out, completely unmarked. He volleyed it past Ederson into the back of the net. And that's how the game ended. An amazing Manchester Derby sees Man United delay the title celebrations of Manchester City. Definition of a game of two halves, this one. Man City completely dominated the first half, but it was a completely different story in the second, as City looked really poor. There were a few penalty shouts that I would have personally given, one for a handball early on in the match, and then another one after a clear foul on Sergio Aguero, both of which were by Ashley Young. Man City will rue some of their missed chances. Raheem Sterling had a handful. I'm quite happy with this result as a Liverpool fan. It really, Man City's head could drop by tonight. Hopefully they're still reeling from this loss and we can just sneak past them. Hopefully we'll just be like, yo, we're not here. Man City will be disappointed that they didn't win the league against their rivals, but they're going to win the league sooner or later. And we went to Arsenal versus Southampton. Southampton took the lead at the Emirates in the 17th minute when Shane Long got only his second league goal of the season. Came as Cedric Suarez put a low cross into the box that got the better of Mustafi, and Shane Long nipped in and finished at the near post. But Arsenal levelled the game up 10 minutes later when Pierre Aubameyang got his sixth league goal of the season. Welbeck got the assist after his clever little flick on the edge of the box took out the defender, and in came Aubameyang, who got the slightest of touches to take it past the keeper, and Arsenal scored with their first shot on target. And Arsenal took the lead 5 from half time when Danny Welbeck got the goal. Southampton did have a good spell, but Arsenal poured men forward and Alex Iwobi slipped it to Danny Welbeck. He struck a shot from the edge of the box that the keeper would have gathered if it wasn't for a little deflection off of Mayushi's boot that took it into the net, as Danny Welbeck got his first Premier League goal in 17 matches. But Southampton made it 2-all in the 73rd minute when Charlie Austin got a goal with one of his first touches of the match. He was on the pitch for about a minute and it started with a free kick that Charlie Austin took quickly, and he then charged forward. Cedric Suarez had it, put it across the face of goal, and popping up was Austin, who put it home. But Arsenal retook the lead 2 minutes later when Danny Welbeck got his second and Arsenal's third of the match. A minute earlier, Welbeck had a sitter and he missed it, but he made up for it here as Alex Iwobi for the second time in the match assisting Welbeck as he stood across up towards the back post, and there's hardly any pressure on Welbeck as he headed home. And things would get really interesting in the 92nd minute as both teams had a man sent off when Jack Stevens got sent off for Southampton and Mohamed Elneny got sent off for Arsenal. A scuffle broke out with Jack Stevens and Jack Wilshere there being the main culprits. Wilshere tore the shirt of Stevens and he got a yellow card, but Stevens' reaction was to grab Wilshere by the neck and throw him to the ground, and that got him an early shower. And then the ref went up to Elneny and showed him a straight red as well, and at first everyone was really confused, but the replay showed Mohamed Elneny run up, shove Cedric Suarez to the ground with a push in the face. You can't make contact with the face, Mohamed. It's just, those are the rules. The ref showed him the straight red as well. And that's how the game ended. A crazy end of the match. Southampton started the stronger of the two teams, but they showed in this match what they've been struggling with all season. They aren't able to close out games. They did have some great chances and a goal disallowed for offside, which was the right call. They also had an effort cleared off of the line, and McCarthy made some great saves in the second half to keep his side in it, but his defenders let him down. A point here would have been vital for Southampton, but some sloppy defending cost them as they remain in the relegation zone, but still only 3 points from safety. And we move on to Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. It would take until the second half of this one to get its first goal, and it was Palace who took the lead 2 minutes in the second half when Luka Milivojevic bagged his 10th league goal of the season. This one wasn't from the penalty spot, surprisingly enough, but it was from a dead ball as he stepped up to take a free kick, curled it around the wall and into the top corner for his 10th league goal of the season, and he's the first Crystal Palace player to get 10 league goals in the Premier League season. But Bournemouth levelled the game up in the 65th minute through Lys Mousset. Mousset was on the pitch for about 30 seconds and the ball fell to him on the edge of the area and he bent his shot into the bottom corner. But Palace retook the lead in the 75th minute when Wilfried Zaha scored a beautiful solo goal. He had the ball in the Bournemouth box, the defenders forced him outside of the area, but he doesn't care as he turns his man with a pirouette, curled the ball home from 20 yards out. But like most matches Bournemouth are involved in, there was a late goal involved as they levelled the game up in the 88th minute through Joshua King. Such an awful goal for Palace to concede as the corner was put into the box, it was flicked on and Joshua had all the time in the world to stab the ball under the keeper and into the back of the net. And as the game ended, another entertaining game for Bournemouth as yet again they grab a point in the dying moments. Palace and especially Roy will be furious with this result though, as they really should have got the corner clear, or at least someone should be picking up Joshua King. No one did. Palace let a lead slip twice as Bournemouth made them pay. I don't know why I decided to do Roy Hodgson impression there. I really don't. And we went to Stoke versus Tottenham. Pretty quiet first half. Stoke did well to keep Tottenham out and they did look up for it in the second half, but Tottenham did take the lead 5 minutes into that second half through Christian Eriksen. Dele Alli had far too much time and space on the ball as he ran into the right hand side of the box. Harry Kane was waiting for it, but he instead picked out Christian Eriksen who was sprinting in, and the Dane hit it low and hard into the back of the net. But Stoke levelled the game up 5 minutes later through Mame Diouf. Horrible mistake from Hugo Lloris as Serjan Zakiri played a lovely high ball over the Spurs defence. Lloris comes and tries to clear it, but he instead punts it right into the gut of Diouf, and he kept his cool and put the ball into the empty net and then went down in pain. Luckily for Stoke, he stayed up for long enough to put that in. But Spurs retook the lead 5 minutes later when Christian Eriksen got his second goal. It came from a free kick from a crossing position, and that's exactly what he did, as Eriksen whipped a delightful free kick into the box, and it looked like Harry Kane got a little touch on it, and he wheeled off in celebration, but the Premier League reviewed the goal and awarded it to Christian Eriksen, and the replays pretty much show that Harry Kane basically breathed on the ball and tried to claim it. And that's how the game ended. Stoke frustrated Tottenham in the first half, but Tottenham got 2 second half goals to bag their 6th league win in a row and added to Stoke's relegation fears. Stoke did come close to grabbing a point near the end as Xherdan Shaqiri's free kick rattled off of the bar, but a double from Christian Eriksen put Tottenham level on points with Liverpool with a game in hand as well. And we move on to Watford versus Burnley. Roberto Pereira was Watford's best player on the pitch in the first half, and he got the goal he deserved in the 61st minute as he gave Watford the lead. Will Hughes drove into the box following a 1-2 with his teammate. Stephen Ward slid in and knocked the ball away, but it fell to Pereira just inside the box and he slotted it home. But Burnley levelled the game up in the 70th minute when Sam Vokes got the goal with his first touch of the ball. He scored after being on the pitch for 22 seconds, the quickest goal by a substitute this season. It came for a free kick from deep that Adrian Mariappa tried to clear, but all he could do was head it up and back towards his own goal, and then came Vokes, who watched it drop and stabbed past the keeper. And Burnley completed the comeback 3 minutes later when Jack Cork got the goal. Another free kick from deep, it was put into the box this time towards the back stick, and then it was put back across goal, and then came Jack Cork, who nodded home from close range. And as the game ended, a late double for Burnley gave the Clabs their 4th league win in a row in the top flight, something that they haven't done since 1968. Europa League football is well and truly in the sight of Burnley, and if you told me this at the start of the season, I would have laughed in your face. And we went on to Leicester versus Newcastle. Leicester opened the scoring in the 18th minute when John Joe Shelby got his first Premier League goal in nearly 2 years. It came as Ayoze Perez had the ball on the left hand side. The Spaniard found Shelby on the edge of the box. He faked one man and it looked like he was going to smash it, but instead he finally placed his shot into the back of the net. And Newcastle doubled their lead in the 75th minute when Ayoze Perez went from assister to finisher. A huge boot upfield from Florian Lejeune and the Leicester defenders let it bounce. Ayoze Perez nipped in and from about 25 yards out he lifted the ball over the keeper and into the back of the net with the outside of his foot. But Leicester would make the final 5 minutes interesting as they made it 2-1 in the 85th minute through Jamie Vardy. Simple goal for Vardy as Shinji Okazaki headed the ball down in the box. In came Vardy to finish from point blank range. And as the game ended, Newcastle picked up their 3rd league win in a row thanks to a very bright start from the Magpies. Leicester will feel robbed as they could have had a penalty when Mahrez went down in the box, but the ref was not interested at all, and despite the late goal from Vardy, it only turned out to be a consolation as Newcastle picked up the win away from home. And we went to Brighton versus Huddersfield. Brighton took the lead in the half-hour mark when Jonas Losso parried the ball into his own net. It came as Solly March was able to bend a shot on target from the edge of the box. Losso got a decent hand at it, but it bounces off of the post, hits him on the back of the head and over the line. But Huddersfield equalised the game only 3 minutes later, and it's another mistake leading to a goal, as Brighton defender Shane Duffy played a pass back towards his own goal, and he somehow didn't see Steve Mooney. He nipped in, took it round the keeper and stayed at home from a tight angle. And the final half an hour of the match would get a lot more difficult for Brighton when they were reduced to 10 men when Davy Proper got sent off. Proper and Jonathan Hogg went in for a 50-50. Proper's studs were showing they caught Hogg, and the ref showed Davy Proper a straight red card. But that is how the game ended. Huddersfield picked up a crucial point in their quest for survival. Despite the fact that they ended the match with 10 men, Brighton had the better chance to nab the win at the end, but Lasso pulled off a brilliant save to deny Jose Escuero. This one reminded me of a proper championship game, which is expected, considering both of them are pretty fresh out of the championship, and both teams picked up a point as they hoped to bag a second season in the top flight. And we went to Chelsea versus West Ham. Chelsea took the lead in the 35th minute when Cesar Azpilicueta got the goal. It came from a corner that was taken short and quickly, and West Ham just weren't ready for it. It swung in by Victor Moses, it bounced off of a couple of heads before falling to Azpi in the middle, and the ball bounced off of his shin and went in from close range. But West Ham levelled the game up half an hour into the second half when Javier Hernandez got the equaliser. He was on the pitch for about 3 minutes, he was allowed to make his way into the box, Marco Arnautovic picked him out with a low cross, and the Mexican put the ball home. And as the game ended, I don't know how Chelsea didn't win this game. They had a plethora of chances, but a combination of being extremely wasteful and Joe Hart having possibly the best game of his career kept Chelsea from getting the winner. West Ham don't even deserve a point, if I'm being brutally honest. Hardly in this match at all, but that's football. They were resilient at the back, they pick up an important point, and as for Chelsea, they're now 10 points adrift of the top 4. The manager doesn't seem like he cares. The fans are starting to get annoyed with the team, and I won't be surprised if Conte gets the boot in the summer. And we went to West Brom versus Swansea. In the battle between two relegation sides, it was West Brom who took the lead in the 54th minute when Jay Rodriguez put the Baggies ahead. It came from a cross that was put into the box from the left hand side, flicked on, Jay Rodriguez was just onside and he poked it home. But Swansea levelled the game up in the 75th minute when Tammy Abraham took advantage of some awful defending from West Brom. Corner for Swansea was put into the box, and you'd think someone would be marking Tammy Abraham because he's quite tall, but there's no one around him, and he nodded home from 2 yards out. And as the game ended, this was West Brom's chance to possibly grab a win to try and get back into this, but it wasn't to be, as West Brom basically told Tammy Abraham to score from this corner by not marking the 6'3" striker. They didn't lose their 9th league game in a row after sacking Pardew, but they're going down anywhere, as some decent save by Fabianski kept West Brom from getting a winner. West Brom are now 10 points from safety, and although Swansea are 15th, they're only 4 points clear of the drop zone. And finally, we've got the Merseyside Derby between Everton and Liverpool. The 231st Merseyside Derby was a disappointment. Liverpool dominated the first half and most of the second, but for the final 15 minutes of the match, Everton came forward and had the best chances of the game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a great chance, a lovely ball from Leighton Baines, only needed a touch to secure the win, but it wasn't to be, as both teams come away with a point, and I personally will take that result. So that's all the games I've got for this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. That was top 5, and as you can see, Manchester City weren't able to clinch the title this week, but there will be other chances. They remain in first. The team that ruined the title celebrations, Manchester United, are second. Liverpool are third after they during the Merseyside Derby. Tottenham are fourth, but only on goal difference after they beat Stoke. And Chelsea make up top 5 following a disappointing draw with West Ham. Moving on to the bottom 5, and West Brom are bottom. They didn't lose this week for the first time in about 2 months, but they didn't win either, as they drew against Swansea. Stoke are 19th after they lost to Tottenham. Southampton make up the relegation zone following their loss to Arsenal. Crystal Palace is 17th after they drew with Bournemouth. Huddersfield make up the bottom 5 following their draw with Brighton. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and as you can see, Mohamed Salah is still on the top. He was rested in the Merseyside Derby, so he stayed on 29 goals and 9 assists. Harry Kane is second. He thought he had a goal until the Premier League gave to Eriksen, so he stayed on 24 goals and 2 assists. Sergio Aguero couldn't get a goal off of the bench against United, so he stayed on 21 goals and 6 assists. Raheem Sterling could have had 2 or 3 against United, but he couldn't take his chances, so he stayed on 16 goals and 8 assists. And the one man in the top 5 who did score this week was Jamie Vardy, who makes it the top 5 after his consolation goal against Newcastle took him up to 16 goals and 1 assist. Right, so that's all I've got for this time. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League review. If you want to follow my personal Twitter, link is in the description. If you want to follow us on Twitter to stay up to date about when we go live or upload a video, you can. The link to that is in the description as well, or it's at portionofsport_. Should be a live stream tonight for the Champions League quarter-final second leg between Manchester City and Liverpool. Liverpool going with a 3-0 advantage. I'm quite nervous. If you missed the last episode, that'll be popping on your screen about now, along with a link to the channel so you can subscribe. But anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I'm from Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I will see you soon.